Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil and welcome to the Manchester United versus Crystal Palace match preview. It's the big one. We're back to the Premier League. We're back to what matters the most. Obviously, we had a very, very convincing win over Crystal Palace in the week, 3-0. Probably the best performance I've seen under Ten Hag since he's been the manager here. Yes, it was maybe a slightly weakened Crystal Palace side, but still, you've got to take the positives from that. This is obviously a completely different kettle of fish. I think they will obviously go full strength. Arguably, we're missing so many players as well. We had a lot of youth players on the pitch, so both teams were relatively inexperienced in that match. So let's jump straight into it and let's start with our match lineup prediction, whatever you want to call it. So we've gone with Onana in goal. We've gone with Sofyan Amrabat at left back. We've gone for a defensive partnership of Victor Lindelof and Rafael Varane. Diogo Dalot at right back. Then we've got a midfield of Mason Mount and Casemiro. Bruno Fernandes as the centre attacking midfielder. Rashford on the left. Højlund down the middle and Pellistri on the right. I'm really, really happy if that's what we go with. I think that would be a sensible option. Obviously, there is some big injury issues, hence the video title, which we will touch on in a minute. But for the time being, please do let me know in the comment section what your match prediction is, who's going to be playing, what your score predictions are. Let me know in the comment section. I will, of course, bring you all of the injury news as well really, really quickly. So in relation to Manchester United's injury news, we can confirm that apparently, this is coming out from various different journalists this afternoon, Rafael Varane will be out for 2 to 3 months. That has now been confirmed. It apparently is something related to his foot injury that he had at the end of last season, which I think he was out for about 2 or 3 months at that point as well. Another massive injury blow for Manchester United. Obviously, if we go through the whole squad now really, really quickly, right? The goalkeeper situation, all of our goalkeepers are fit, so I guess that's one small positive. Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire are obviously fit. Lisandro Martinez is out for 2 to 3 months. Malacia is out for 2 to 3 months. Reguilon is also now injured as well. Ten Hag confirmed earlier on today, and apparently will be back after the international break, which is about the 2nd or 3rd week of October. So we'll miss him for the Crystal Palace game. We'll miss him for the Galatasaray game in the week, the Brentford game next weekend. We'll probably miss him for 4 or 5 games, which is obviously pretty devastating. Rafael Varane is back from injury, so he'll be available for Saturday. Dalot's obviously okay. Luke Shaw's out for 2 to 3 months. Wan-Bissaka's out for 2 to 3 months. So in the centre-back area alone, we're missing Lisandro Martinez, Malacia, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon and Luke Shaw. All of those players are 100% out for the game on Saturday, so that's a big blow. Moving over to the midfield, Sofyan Amrabat is obviously available, and I am 99% sure he'll be starting at left back again because there isn't any other. We literally have one fit winger, what are they called? Wing back in the whole squad, and that's Diogo Dalot. All of the others are injured, so it will be Sofyan Amrabat, I think, at left back. Mason Mount's back and available, which is a positive. Bruno Fernandes is obviously okay. Christian Eriksen is okay. Casemiro is okay. Pellistri's okay. Van der Beek's okay. Kobe Mainoo will be back in about 2 to 3 weeks. He'll be back after the international break, so that's a big positive. McTominay's okay. Dan Gore's okay. Mejbri's okay. And Omar Forson is okay. So midfield isn't too bad now that, Mason Mount's back. The only real notable absentee at the moment in the midfield is Kobe Mainoo. So not too bad. Looking at our attacking options, obviously Antony Martial has stayed fit so far, which is really, really good. He got his goal against Crystal Palace. He took it really, really nicely. Marcus Rashford's obviously fit. Hasn't really started the season that well. Has got 1 goal so far in 6 appearances, which isn't great. Højlund, obviously fit. Amad Diallo's injured. He'll be back apparently in 2 to 3 months. Garnacho is available. Antony is back in training from tomorrow onwards. So that's a really, really big positive for Manchester United. We will be seeing Antony back at Manchester United at Carrington from tomorrow onwards, and he'll be available for selection from next week. So that's a big positive in the injury situation and the kind of general suspensions, all the rest of it. Sancho, who knows with Sancho? We're never probably going to see him play for Manchester United again, I don't think. And Shira is also available. So there's still, the list's getting a little bit better. I would say we're somewhere around 8 to 10 injuries now, versus before it was over 10 a couple of weeks ago. So it's getting a little bit better. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Just to say as well, guys, this is a live show, so do get your comments in. I usually do these as pre-recorded, but I thought I'd do this one as a live one tonight. So do get your questions and your comments in and your super chats, and I will read out as many things as possible before the end of the show. But yeah, that's a bit of an overview of where we're at with the injuries, suspensions, and all the rest of it. We still can field a good team, and I think that this team that I've set up for the game against Crystal Palace tomorrow should be strong enough to beat them. Obviously, our attack looks good. Rashford, Fernandes, Højlund, Pellistri, I'm more than happy with that. Mason Mount and Casemiro, I think that's pretty solid. Obviously, there's some people saying that Hannibal should start, but I think either he plays Mason Mount on the right instead of Pellistri, or maybe, there's a couple of different options this way could go. Maybe Mason Mount plays on the right, Pellistri drops to the bench, and Hannibal plays where Mason Mount is at the moment. Maybe that would work. I think that would be decent, but we'll have to wait and see what Erik ten Hag does. I think that maybe he'll start Pellistri. I think Pellistri offers us something that Mason Mount probably doesn't in that wing position. Pellistri wants to constantly beat his man and put crosses into the box. Obviously, Mason Mount's good at crosses as well, but I do think that we will see Mason Mount in that midfield on Saturday afternoon. In relation to Crystal Palace's injury news, just to give you a bit of an update on that, obviously on the week, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't remember what day of the week it was. Was it Tuesday? Wednesday? I'm not sure. So Dean Henderson is 100% out, which is obviously... I don't know, is that a blow for Dean Henderson? Sorry, for Crystal Palace. I mean, he's barely even played for them. I guess it is a blow, seeing as they spent £20 million on him. But in the grand scheme of this match, I don't think it's a massive difference for Crystal Palace personally. But obviously, let me know what you guys think about that. So Elise is injured at the moment. He'll be back in October. So that's a massive, massive blow for Crystal Palace. Elise is one of their better players. Mateus Oliveira, again, one of their really, really big players, is also out. He'll be back in October. Jefferson Lerma is out. Will be back in October. James Tompkins is out. Odsonne Edouard is out as well. He'll be back probably in a couple of days' time. So they're missing about 4 or 5 of their better players, of their starting 11. So that is a big, big issue for Crystal Palace. Obviously, I've just said we've got 10 injuries, so there can't be any excuses on either side. Obviously, Eze will play on the weekend. He's a quality player, the person who's in the thumbnail of the video. But overall, I'd say that both teams have a relatively similar situation going into this game. We've both got injuries. We're both having to the fact that we've got a CDM playing at left back, that's pretty mad, isn't it? The fact that we're probably going to either see Maguire or we're going to see Lindelof partnering Varane. That wasn't what people would expect at the beginning of the season. If I'd have told you Martinez is going to be injured for 3 months, everyone would be absolutely devastated, wouldn't they? But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, we don't have... Ginger said maybe we should try Lindelof at left back. Maybe that will happen. Maybe it'll be Lindelof, Maguire, Varane, and Dalot, or maybe Johnny Evans will be in there. We'll have to wait and see what Erik ten Hag does. I think at the moment, we always just think the obvious is going to happen with Erik ten Hag, but I literally did not expect him to start those players on Tuesday or Wednesday against Crystal Palace. So hopefully he surprises me again. There will be no watch along for the game tomorrow, which is a bit disappointing, but I have an arrangement. I have something I've got to do at 3 o'clock for 45 minutes. So it's something I agreed to months and months ago, and I can't change the arrangement. So it's quite frustrating, and I do apologise that I will not be able to do the watch along tomorrow, but I'm going to pre-record the match and then come back and watch it when I get home. So I'm just going to record it and then kind of turn my phone off, come back in and start it from the beginning so I can still feel like I'm watching it live, even though by the time I finish the game, it will actually be over. So yeah, I'll have to, turn my internet off for a little bit. And then when I get back from this thing I've got to do for 45 minutes, I will then watch the game and then obviously be live with you in the evening as well. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Irvin says, can we sign Rio Ferdinand again? That would be nice. RJ says we should do a 3-2-4-1 formation. Yeah, I really like the 3 at the back when we had possession against Crystal Palace the other night. I thought it worked really, really well. I thought it really pinned the opponents in their half. And I would be more than happy to see a 3 back again against Crystal Palace in this match, because that means that way you could play probably Lindelof, Varane and Maguire. And you know what? I'm going to say this. Think of this what you want. Harry Maguire is world class for England. Okay, he is. He was the player of the tournament, or he was in the team of the tournament at the Euros, wasn't he? He was really, really good in a 3-back. So maybe this is the way that we utilise Harry Maguire for the rest of this season, because Luke Shaw's out for 2-3 months. He was our 4th choice centre-back. Martinez is out for 2 to 3 months. He's our 2nd choice centre-back. We're literally having to scrape the barrel now. So I think maybe a little formation change like RJ suggested would be really, really good. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of that one. And also, please do let me know what your score predictions are for the game. Stanley says the club has shown double standards in dealing with Antony and Greenwood. Why different treatment for Antony to Greenwood? I was actually having a conversation with someone about this earlier on today. Obviously, Antony is going to be back in training from tomorrow and be available. And people said, how is that fair that Mason Greenwood wasn't able to do that? Well, I think the difference is that Mason Greenwood was actually charged. So Antony hasn't been charged yet. There's allegations against him and they're investigating it, but he hasn't actually been charged by the police yet. And there's a big, big difference in being investigated and being charged. So obviously, if Antony does get charged with domestic abuse, whatever the allegations are, at that point, Manchester United would suspend him and would be within their right to suspend him. But at the moment, It's literally just the police are investigating it. So it hasn't gone to the step of where Mason Greenwood's was yet. The thing with Mason Greenwood's was it was so public. Obviously, those audio clips, whether you think they're real or not, is not what I'm here to talk about. But it was so graphic that it must have moved at a much faster pace, you know? So that's why Mason Greenwood and the Antony situation is completely different. One had charges pressed against them, Mason Greenwood, and the other one is the Antony one is just an investigation. So if we get to a point where Antony has charges placed against him by the police, not by an alleged victim, by the actual police, they say, we think we've got enough evidence here to take Antony to trial. We're going to charge him for allegedly domestic abuse. At that point, Manchester United would have to suspend him. So we're not at that point yet, and that's why it's being handled differently. So be very, very clear about that. The people who are saying it's a disgrace, Mason Greenwood was handled differently. Mason Greenwood was suspended once he was charged, and that's the big difference here. Yeah, as Gabrielle says, Greenwood was arrested. Antony has not been arrested yet. Simon says Antony was never charged with anything, nor arrested. Massive difference. There you go, exactly. It's a big difference. It's just allegations at the moment. He hasn't been charged. So if he gets charged, like Mason Greenwood was, then Manchester United will suspend him. And that's why he is available to train. That's why he's available to be part of the matchday squads. And that's why Manchester United have made this decision. Because at this point in time, nothing has gone to that level yet. So whether that's right or wrong is up to you. Whether you still think that he should be handled differently, then that's I'm not going to really get into that. That's not what we're here to do on that channel. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Obviously, it was just the match preview tonight. If anything does break between now and tomorrow morning, I will be live. I will be live in the morning for the usual morning show. As I said, there'll be no watch along tomorrow, which is a shame, but it is what it is. But I will be live again later on in the day at about 6 o'clock for the evening show. And obviously we can all talk about the game and all the rest of it. Have a lovely evening, everybody, or day, or wherever you are in the world. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. I've been Kieran, and I'll catch you all later.